Aloha! Bill Merrill here with the Big Island Garden and Lava Report for Sunday, June 3rd. Yeah, well, here in the garden this morning we have orchids blooming on so many of the trees. It's springtime here, so I'd like to show you a few of the orchids this morning. Wow, here's a real cool orchid. It's pinned to the side of our ohia tree here by the driveway. I'm afraid the name on the tag has faded, and so I don't really know what this thing is. No one put it here, but wow, it's pretty cool. Look at that inside the flower there. Isn't that neat? Pistachio colored orchid. Right here on the orchid table, directly in front of us, is a butter-colored Miltoniopsis. It's really blooming up a storm. Next to it, right over there, we've got one of the spider orchids, purple. Very interesting critter. In the back over there, it's a golden or autumn-colored Oncidium. Really beautiful gold colors in that one. Right here in the orange tree, we've got another stunning Bracilla spider orchid. They kind of smell like hay. I sometimes describe it as smelling like spider farts. We call them spider orchids because of the long, lacy petals the flowers have. They look like spiders. Here on the lanai, we've got one of the Oncidiums that's related to Sherry Baby. It has the sweet smell. Dendrobium nobile are starting to bloom. The classic Dendrobium back there is coming to the end of its bloom. Cute little fairy orchid. Neat old thing. Here Ellen has gathered up a bunch of her favorites that have come into bloom out in the garden. Brought them inside and set them inside the house for us to enjoy. This Phalaenopsis right here is really amazing. It's a beauty. It's got a couple of spikes on it. This little guy here, the flower almost resembles the vanilla orchid, but it's larger. Here is a really beautiful large cattleya that's got an amazing smell. It is perfuming the house. This one grows almost like a little weed here in Mountain View. That's the Oncidium Tom Paisley. Cute little guy. You can hang him in a tree, put him on a rock wall, stick him in a pot. It doesn't really matter what you do with this orchid here. It's a great landscape orchid for this area of the country. Moving on to the food garden. This guy right here is called ají dulce. Ají is the name given in South America for most of the peppers that are in the Capsicum baccatum group. This is a very odd, but rather productive, strong pepper. You see little berry-sized fruits in there that are all bright red. Those were set last winter. And actually, most of them appear to have set parthenocarpically. There's no seeds inside of them. Yet now, as spring's moving on, the fruit's getting larger and larger, and they are becoming seedy. So this one doesn't appear to really even need pollination to set its fruit. I've never seen anything quite like it. The flavor of it is really good. It has almost the habanero-like fruitiness in this stuff, but it's not hot pepper. The aroma comes up, and I immediately get frightened that it's going to burn me out, but it's got a nice sweet flavor. It is not, to my knowledge, currently available much in the seed market. This was part of a university experimental program, and some of the seed fell off on me. I will, as this all ripens up, I'm going to post this guy on my seed site, so you'll be able to get to the seed. It's pretty special. It really is something. Right here, you can see the turmeric is coming up. So it's spring in Hawaii. There's the little tag to make sure we know where it is, because I've been digging it and using it all winter. I just dug some up the other day, and I had it this morning in the eggs with the ají dulce. Delicious, absolutely delicious, but it's coming on. It's time to get out there and start planting the rest of my turmeric. Here we have a row of 3-year-old habanero chilies that are continuing to pound on peppers. This is one strong pepper plant around here. It just does not give up. Unfortunately, I give up real fast while trying to eat it. This variety, though, that's extremely productive here and very perennial, is one that came up as a landrace from down in Kalapana, near the area that's being inundated by lava today. And so it's a sort of a local heirloom habanero form somebody's been raising here for years. I think I'll go ahead and put this one on my seed list here eventually too. One of the traditional offerings on the island to Goddess Pele, goddess of volcanoes and lava, fire and such, has always been a pig. Bring her a pig, and hopefully she won't burn your house down. Well, just inadvertently, by chance, we happen to have had 2 pigs sacrificed by automobile in the front of the farm and end up right in the ditch out front here. And considering some of my friends very close by over here are experiencing terrible air and ash and things like that, and we got nothing going on, I'm going to have to assume that perhaps these piggy offerings may do something. At the very least, we end up with nice clean pig skulls to put it in the garden. That's about it for the garden portion of the report today. Moving on to the lava and eruptions. Here is an image of fissures down in Leilani during the day yesterday. You can see them smoking. It is also possible to see a little bit of an orange glow at the bottom of the smoke 20 miles away. That's a lava fountain coming up. I find that's pretty incredible. We can take a look at these shots. Yeah, she's just smoking away again today. I don't know, can I see anything hot and red under there today, huh? Don't see anything today. Next, I have an image that I misidentified yesterday. While taking shots out there along the southeastern rift zone, I spotted this great big cloud of steam coming up that I had assumed was lava at the ocean entry. That was my best guess. I was pretty close, but I was wrong, because when I went back in and I checked on latest data on this one, I come to find out that this haze is caused by the lava having actually run into Green Lake. Now, we have very few natural lakes in Hawaii. The landscape just drains too fast for lakes. We don't even have that many creeks and rivers in the newer parts of the island, only in the old parts. So having a lake in Puna is a special thing. It occurred because of a very old pu'u that was a volcano crater, a small one, that was down in that region. It had filled up with water over time, and I think it probably happened because that region, the groundwater is so high near the coast that it probably moved up and filled the caldera. I'm not positive of all of its history, but it's pretty clear by looking at it that many lava flows in the past, like the 1960, have gone around this thing, left it alone. It had big trees and vegetation where there was just fields of lava around it. Well, as the lava approached Four Corners yesterday and cut off another portion of Puna, it also ran into Green Lake. And the steam cloud you see here is actually the lava boiling the lake into bouillabaisse. I'm sorry for any fish that might have been in that lake. If you live here, you can get kind of used to spectacular events, but it was a stretch of the imagination beyond what I could have considered that a lake might boil away. That's a mind expander for me. Next, I've got a couple of images that I took both at dusk yesterday and then after dark from our driveway. Again, more of fissure number 8 producing lava down in the southeastern rift zone. So you take a look at these pictures for your enjoyment. So the latest news on the volcano up in the national park is that they've done a drone flyover of this thing and looked right down the caldera, and everything I remember, it's not even there anymore. The caldera, the sides of the walls have collapsed. They filled the thing up. It's blocked with rocks and debris and ash, all gray and stuff. And now, back 2008, Halemaumau was sleeping. It was very peaceful. We could drive our cars all the way around the top of the volcano over there and hang out, you know, and just look at it and go, ooh, ah, look. It was just a bunch of black lava hardened. Well, in 2008, it suddenly decided to wake up and threw up just plumes of gas, steam, ash, all kind of stuff, mostly in the form of gas and steam. And originally the column was massive, and it was literally causing people on Oahu and Honolulu to choke. It was a big plume. Well, that went on for quite a while, and then eventually the plume subsided. Off and on turned into a lava lake, which you can see videos that I made previously of lava lake shots at the caldera. But now all the lava has gone down, and it's gone down in Kilauea, proper main caldera. It has also gone down in Pu'u'o'o, which is the caldera that has been running to the sea since the 1980s on the south side of the island. Both of them are flushed. There's nothing there. It's all coming up down by Leilani Estates. Now, I got a couple of guesses. Who knows? At this point, I guess my guesses are as good as most of the geologists, because they don't really seem to know what's going to happen either. But either a Halemaumau may open itself back up, and when it does that, there's going to be VW and TV-sized and refrigerator-sized rocks flying all over the place around the park. Hopefully most of it will stay within the boundaries of the national park, which is closed. That's traditionally what happens. And then it may come back to life, start fuming and doing whatever it does, and perhaps after that's over, if the lava moves back up the chamber, we might be able to open the national park and go back to viewing as usual. Well, there's no guarantee on that. It could be that everything is now shifting to the southeastern rift zone, and that the new vent may actually be in the middle of Leilani Estates. It's going to make some pretty interesting viewing. I don't know what they do about that, because everybody wants to see the lava. Well, currently that lava is all pretty much on private land. Whether people want to live there again or not, it's another story, but I don't know how that would come about. Anyway, not going to worry about it. But that's the caldera right now is just plugged. When I drove through there and showed the ash fall the other day, that was again a symptom of the fact that these explosions were becoming smaller and falling more localized. Otherwise, the fast-moving ribbon of lava coming from fissure number 8 not only boiled Green Lake, but then crossed over near Four Corners and shut off another major area in Puna. And so we have these evacuation orders going on. You must leave now type of situation. I refer to this as martial law with aloha, because they're not going to shoot you, but they have warned people if they don't get out, they might be left behind and nobody's going to risk their life to save them. And or if you're found in there after evacuation orders, you will be arrested. And I guess the county here is hoping that that is enough to persuade people to just pick up their dog, their TV, and get it in the truck and run. That's what we're all hoping that folks will do, because there is no value in hanging on to the side of the house as the lava comes. It's not going to help you. It's becoming very personal for me, because where this is heading towards Kapoho Bay, right over there is the Waipae Tide Pools Marine Sanctuary, which for me was my favorite snorkel spot in all of eastern Hawaii. Very cool. I hope it's still there when this is all over. Even if I can't drive in there because the roads are gone, just knowing that it's still there would make me happy. otherwise, in regards to martial law with Aloha, I have had several different viewers ask me about, well, why don't you go and get closer to all this? You know, go on down there so you can get pictures. And then I also have had some other questions about, is there looting going on? You know, so to address that, to begin with, you know, I do video photography at whatever level, but I am not a paparazzi, not a bit. And so they don't need me in these areas where there's a disaster going on to begin with. I would only be in the way, and I would be causing a problem when there's a lot of people suffering, you know, and in my mind, for me to try to benefit with a camera by, wow, look at all that stuff, my house is burning, and I just can't do it. Standing at this distance and watching from 20 miles away and reporting is close enough for me, and I don't feel that I'm getting in anybody's way by doing this, and I think it honors the situation and what's going on. All right, well, there's that one, but the other one is, as I say, this is almost martial law. The police and the National Guard will not shoot you just for being there, but you are not allowed in, and everybody is supposed to get out. And they're enforcing this big time. I mean, you can't even get in and out of there in the places that are allowed without permits that say, oh yes, I have a house, you know, on such a street in Leilani that hasn't been consumed yet. You got to have a permit. There's checkpoints. It's like entering, you know, East Germany or something like this. It's cordoned off, man. And so again, I couldn't even get close enough to do much with it. And otherwise, they are enforcing it because in the last week we had a guy from California with a drone who violated the no-fly area over this. They busted him. Okay, he's been arrested. We had tourists. Tourists ordinarily here get away with quite a bit because it's Aloha. We want people to have fun in paradise, you know, blah, blah. And so we don't usually mess with people too much that way. But in this case, it's a disaster. They don't need them in there. We had people trying to get close to the lava flows from Hong Kong, from Germany, from California, from New York, I see, had all been arrested. You can't go in. You go in there, you get arrested, and they are pressing charges. Moving on from that, guys who asked me about, you know, whether there's looters, or as we call them locally, cockroaches, that going in there trying to benefit from this. I like to think that any looters that went in there and tried to, you know, take advantage of people's misery, that they never came back out again. Because, I mean, the air is full of SO2. It'll kill you. The lava moves so fast, you know, it's doing like a football field an hour, that you can really be in danger by going in there, or you just get hit by flying, burning rocks, you know. So I'd like to think that any cockroaches that went in there never came back out and paid the ultimate price, personally, because I definitely don't support that kind of behavior. But people who have gone out of line, and there was one guy who attempted to do looting. There was also another guy who was out of control with a handgun when people came back, tried to check their property. I don't know what was in his mind, but he started shooting at them. Well, both of these people, I mean, man, the maximum extent of the law, they threw the book at him. The guy who was trying to loot, he got charged with every possible count you could think of under the sun. But the guy with the gun, they even put terroristic threatening charges on that dude, allowing them to use laws that you know, that go beyond our usual rights because of terrorism. And at this point, if all the charges stick for waving a gun around and firing some shots in the air near some people, he will be in jail for the rest of his life. They're not messing around. Not a bit. And so, you know, everybody out there who thinks maybe they're going to wander in and start trying to see if they can steal a stereo left behind or something, dudes, it ain't worth it. Get a job, go to work, buy your own stereo, leave the place alone, and leave everybody alone in there. For the most part, it's Aloha, and it's people helping each other. There's a lot of compassion, and etc. That it's, for a bad situation, it's been a pretty good thing by and large. There's always some bum, you know, that's going to create issues. But today I'm going to have to check up here beyond the fence line because I know my neighbor told me she was coming by with a crowd to dig up all the sweet potatoes in her garden, and then we're going to take them down to Pahoa and donate them to the folks at the shelters. Sweet potatoes, good stuff. Sounds like a good idea. If it stops drizzling this morning and I hear him back there, I guess I'll just have to do an on-the-spot report of Sweet Potato Day. Aloha. There's the Garden and Lava report for Sunday, June 3rd. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.